Hello and welcome back to another video. My name is Zach. This week we're going to build form to email in .NET. And what that means is we're going to create an HTML form and post that form to our .NET application, and at the same time send an email notification to ourselves letting us know that a form submission has occurred. We're also going to save a copy of that form submission to our database so that we can log into our application and see the list of form submissions at any time. We're going to use the Raytha open source platform to give ourselves a head start, so let's go. Our goal today is to build something similar to what we have on raytha.com/contact. We have a contact form on our website with basic full name, email, phone, and a message that you can click send. And when you click send, it takes you to a confirmation page so that you're informed that your form submission has been successfully submitted. To do that, let's head over to our blank canvas Raytha platform. It's a completely fresh database here. We're going to create a new content type, and we're going to call this contacts. Let's make some fields for this content type. We don't need title or content, but I think we would like to create name, email, and the message. Let's make name the primary field under configuration. And then I'm going to delete the title and content fields because we don't need those anymore. Okay, I'm quite happy we have our three fields on our brand new contacts content type. Let's head back to our list view. I'm actually going to unpublish the list view because we don't need to have a list of contacts on the public website. That doesn't quite make sense. So let's save those changes. And now we're ready to create a form, an HTML form, to post new contacts to this list view, which currently sits empty. Let's head over to templates and create our contact template. We're going to go and we're just going to label this contact, if I can spell that correctly, contact form. We're going to choose the layout as our parent template, and we're actually going to limit this template to only accessible to the page's content type. And we're going to turn that off as well. We're going to cheat a little bit and copy over some boilerplate from the HTML form of Raytha.com. We're going to walk through this code in a minute, but really it's just a couple of form fields, and we're going to click publish changes. We're then going to head over to our page's content type and click new page. We're going to select contact form, and we're going to label this the contact us page. We're going to leave content blank for now. Save and publish. So if we go to settings, we should be able to go to our live site and copy over that route path. Now, it doesn't look that great. We're probably missing some important HTML sections and tags to clean it up. So let's fix that. Go back to templates, get back to our contact us template. And let's add some more sections around it that I know we must be missing. So let me copy and paste some over. A little better, still struggling quite a bit. Let's go, and I think we're missing one more div to clean this up. And again, I'm just copying this over from Raytha.com, but you can, of course, write your own HTML. Okay, that looks a lot better. Now we can try to submit a form. Nothing's going to really happen. When you see here, we got a 404 error. We tried to post to /contact, but we don't have anything on our .NET application wired up to receive the post. So let's pause here and recap where we're at. So far, we created a custom content type called contacts with name, email, and a message as fields for that content type. We then created a custom template using Raytha templates and put in an HTML form. We also created a page called Contact Us and set that page to use the Contact Us template that we had just created. But at this point, we've really pushed Raytha as far as we can out of the box, because now we need to write some C# code to receive the post from the form submission that we just created and actually save it to the database and send us an email. We're now in the Raytha code base with Visual Studio open. What I like to do when I'm building custom components on top of Raytha that are accessible from the public aspect, the public facing website, I like to go into the public directory under areas here in the Raytha.web project. And then you have controllers. And these are the default controllers that Raytha comes with on the public facing side. You got your base controller, login, main, and profile. I prefer just to copy and paste the profile controller and then rename it to whatever we need to call it. In this case, I'm going to call it the contacts controller. We're going to remove the authorized tag, rename profile controller to contacts controller. And we're going to clear out some of that boilerplate that we copy and pasted over. We're going to rename the route to match what we put in our contact template. And then I'm going to clear all this out so we can start fresh. I'm going to pause here, write the code real quick. You don't need to watch me type everything out, but then I'm going to walk you through line by line how it all works, and we'll test it out and see how it goes. All right, we're back. I wrote some code. There isn't that much here, so we'll cover it section by section. And the first thing that we did was created a contact form submission model to receive that post for the HTML that we configured in the Raytha template. And just for convenience, I just kind of put that here at the bottom, full name, email, message. And these match the name values in that HTML form exactly, because that's what is required when you're building an HTML form. I fixed a couple bugs here, so we want to make sure that the route name matches here the same as the GET request on the page in Raytha. Here we're getting the content type, and we're calling it by the developer name because that's what we labeled it when we created that contact type. And when we create a new content item in Raytha, we do have to specify a template, even if we have no intention of using that template. So just as a default, just to set a template value on that content item in order to save this content, in order to save this form submission to the database, we're just going to grab one of those default content item detail templates, even if though it's not going to be used. We're then going to set up the input command to create the content item by saying, hey, this is the contacts type. We're going to publish it so it's not a draft mode. And this is that default template that we chose just to populate. Now for the content, we're going to use the developer names of the three fields that we created, name, email, and message, and then just set them to the model that we received coming in. We're then going to call the command to save it to the database. And if we get back a success message from our Raytha content item model, we're going to send ourselves an email. And Raytha comes out of the box with a pretty handy email handler, which we can define simply by declaring those variables here at the top. So we can get that email service, which will use the SMTP credentials that you define in your app setting. So long as you do that, it's just a little code snippet to send ourselves an email notification with the message and a subject line and the from email and the from name. We're then going to redirect to a contact form submitted page, and we should be good to go. We have some error handling in case the user did not properly fill out the form. So we want to show some error messages to the user saying, hey, this field is required. Because in the Raytha content model, we did specify that all three fields are required. So if they try to submit missing a field, they will be notified. Let's flip back over to the live site and see it in action. Okay, we'll fill out test at test.com, and test message. Let's click send. Okay, So we got a 404 not found upon submitting, but that's okay. We'll come back to that in a second because we have the contact form submitted, but we never created that page. So actually this is expected behavior. But let's see if it actually saved the item to the database, and let's see if it sent me an email. So I'm going to refresh my page, and sure enough, this is the item that we just submitted. So we get to see all the form submissions conveniently listed here in the Raytha backend. For the email, I'm using PaperCut as my local email server for testing purposes, and I just took a quick screenshot of it, and it did come through exactly as expected. So we've successfully submitted a form, saved the form to the Raytha database, and sent ourselves an email notification. Let's fix that issue upon form submission that causes a 404 error. To fix that issue, we're going to go over to Pages, click Create New Page. We're going to create a content item detail view and say Contact Form Submission Success. Save and publish. Let's make sure here that this route path matches what we specified in our code. Okay, let's try once more. And we are good. We now have a confirmation page that we redirected the user to. Let's test the form with some invalid input by missing one of the fields. So I'm going to come back in here, and actually we're going to go back to our template real quick and turn off some of that local validation. Let's see here. So I'm going to turn off the required thing just so we can test out the server-side validation. Let's refresh. I'm going to leave the full name blank, put in some values here, and then click Send Message. You see now we get an error says name field is required. Let's see what happens when we look at the code here on the backend template. I added a little bit of liquid syntax to detect if we returned that error back to the user, because we have the access to view data, which is here under the insert variables. View data is right here. By using a little bit of liquid syntax, we can access the validation errors key within the view data dictionary and then specify the developer name to see if there's an error on that attribute. And if there is, we can output the respective error to the user. All right, we're going to wrap up this video. We successfully created an HTML form that posts contact details to our .NET application, and then we save those details to our Raytha database, whose form submissions become accessible immediately in the back end of our application. At the same time, we sent ourselves an email notification that a submission form has been received. We did all of this using a combination of Raytha templates, Raytha pages, and just a tiny bit of .NET code thrown in there to tie it all together. I hope you see a little bit behind the scenes of how we can build these .NET applications extremely quickly using the Raytha open source platform. So if you're interested in seeing more videos like this one, don't forget to subscribe and check us out on Twitter. Follow us on social media, Raytha HQ. We hope you check it out, and see you in the next video.